Hi everyone. In this video, we will look at all there is to know about Bitcoin, explained in a simple and concise manner. We will have a look at the history of money, the problems with money as it is today, and how Bitcoin has the potential to revolutionize and rebrand the term money. Before we go into more detail about Bitcoin, we need to talk about money and its definitions across time. Essentially, money is a medium of exchange that allows people to buy and sell goods and services, and for the repayment of debt, such as taxes. Through time, money has been represented by a variety of commodities. Some examples of money or a medium of exchange at a specific time include salt, seashells, and most famously, gold. The most important part of money is trust. The population has to trust that the money is valuable and will remain valuable long enough for them to redeem that value in the future. Up until 100 years ago, we always trusted something to represent money. However, with time, we have gone from trusting something, such as gold bars, to trusting someone, like central banks. This is because people found it too inconvenient and cumbersome to carry hundreds of seashells or gold bars, so people invented paper money. How does this work? A central bank, usually controlled by a government, would offer to safeguard your gold bars, and in return, the bank would give you paper certificates or bills amounting to the value of the gold you gave the bank. Let's say for this example, the amount is $100. The bills were much easier to carry, and you could spend $5 in a restaurant and not have to cut your gold bar into 1,000 pieces in order to pay. Another advantage of convenience was that if you wanted your gold back, all you had to do was to take the $100 in bills back to the bank to redeem the gold bar whenever you wanted. However, with time, the bond between the paper certificates and gold as a backing asset was broken due to many complex reasons. Governments then told people that the government itself would be liable for the value of the bills. At this point, the paper bills were backed by nothing. The value was given to it by the government's assertion that it had value. Despite it being counterintuitive, it worked because of trust. People trusted the government. This was the birth of fiat money, and it was the point when the money model changed from people trusting something or a commodity to trusting someone or the government to back the value of the money that they hold. The government controls all fiat money, making it centralized. It can also print as much fiat money as it wants whenever they need to. This is a major issue because by increasing the total money supply, the value of each dollar drops. So your own money is worth less, and that's why prices of everything increase year on year. The amount of goods you can purchase with $100 becomes less and less each year due to the printing of money, which fundamentally erodes its value. Now, it might be hard to believe, but more than 90% of all the money in the world is digital already. Only 7% of the money in circulation is actually paper cash, and the rest is digital money in banks' computers. Once gold-backed money became fiat-backed money, the stage was set for it to become digital. We already have a central authority that issues money, so why not make money mainly digital and let that authority keep track of who owns what? Today, we use credit cards, wire transfers, and many other forms of digital money. The majority of money today is created when commercial banks issue loans. The act of issuing a loan essentially creates money out of thin air and increases the money supply. The central bank does not have control over this mechanism, so if it wanted to restrict the money supply, it then becomes a game of chicken between the central bank and private banks, which the private bank will likely win, because if the central bank doesn't play ball, the house of cards comes tumbling down. The solutions that banks use today to keep track of money supply is a centralized solution. They keep a ledger on their computer which keeps track of who owns what. Everyone has an account, and this ledger keeps a tally for each account. We all trust that the bank, and the bank trusts their computer, and so the solution is centralized on this ledger in this computer. Giving central authorities control over the money supply gives them enormous power and this creates potential major issues. One major issue is corruption. Absolute power given to banks is likely to be exploited for personal gains through corruption. For example, in 2017, Wells Fargo employees secretly created millions of unauthorized bank and credit card accounts to overstate the bank's financial performance without its customers' knowledge. Another issue is mismanagement. Corrupt central authorities whose interests are not aligned to the people are bound to mismanage the supply of money. A good example is Zimbabwe's hyperinflation crisis, whereby inflation was at 89.7 sextillion% in 2008 due to the central bank's reckless printing of money, causing people to lose their life savings as the currency became virtually worthless overnight. A final issue is control, or a lack thereof. You are giving control to a government or bank, and if you have a bank account, it can be frozen at any time without any explanation. Even if you use cash, the government might make certain bills obsolete and the value of your cash can go to zero instantly, as it happened in India a few years ago. And this is where Bitcoin comes in, as a solution to the centralization problem. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency. Every single Bitcoin transaction is documented in a virtual ledger, which is called the blockchain, available for anyone in the public to access. Bitcoin gives you complete and uninterrupted access over your money, unlike many assets that you own, which are heavily regulated by banks and governments. In essence, Bitcoin is a transparent ledger without a central authority created by an unknown individual who calls himself Satoshi Nakamoto. And this cryptocurrency called Bitcoin was created in 2008. Comparing Bitcoin to a bank manages its own ledger of balances and transactions. However, the ledger is not available to the public and is only stored in the bank's computers. They have complete control over it. On the other hand, Bitcoin is a transparent ledger which allows anyone to access the ledger and see all the transactions and balances that take place. The only thing is that we can't know who owns these balances or who does the transactions because Bitcoin is called pseudo-anonymous. Every Bitcoin transaction is trackable. However, you cannot ascertain that the identity of the individuals behind the transactions, which creates a layer of transparent tracking and opaque anonymity. Now let's look at some advantages of Bitcoin over the current monetary system. Bitcoin gives you complete control over your money. It allows you to have full access to your funds. No government or bank can decide to freeze your account or confiscate your Bitcoin if you hold it on a decentralized wallet. Bitcoin is decentralized. There is no single computer that hosts the ledger. Every computer that participates in the Bitcoin network is also keeping a copy of the ledger, also known as the blockchain. Therefore, if you want to hack the ledger, you will have to take down millions of computers that are keeping copies of the ledger and constantly updating it. Bitcoin cuts the need for middlemen. It is thus cheaper to use than traditional wire transfers due to its corresponding low transfer fees. Also, Bitcoin is crazy quick. It only takes a couple of minutes for you to transfer someone at the opposite end of the world some Bitcoin, whereas it takes several days for a traditional wire transfer to be completed. Most importantly, Bitcoin is open to everyone to use. It offers the possibility for digital commerce to over 2 billion people globally who do not have access to banking or any financial services. With a mobile phone in their hand, they can start using Bitcoin without any major fees, any major repercussions, or anyone's permission. Bitcoin has increasingly been the topic of conversation in many circles since its inception. Now, more than ever, the cryptocurrency is playing an ever-increasing role in the global economy with unparalleled levels of adoption. The reason why Bitcoin is so hyped up is that it offers us an alternative to the current centralized system of money. Bitcoin cannot be controlled by any bank or government. It's similar to the internet when it first started. You could only obtain news from major news channels on TV. It was centralized. However, as time went on, the internet changed this. Information became decentralized, and you can now communicate and consume knowledge from any source around the world with any of your digital devices, and you're free to look at whatever news source you want. Now, this brings us to the end of today's chat. I hope you have learned the basics of Bitcoin and how it has the potential to revolutionize how we define money. Satoshi Nakamoto, or whatever his name is, designed Bitcoin in a way that gives you a secure and anonymous way to control your money. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing this video with your family and friends. Once again, thank you and cheers.